Gaslighting is an insidious form of manipulation and psychological control, where victims are deliberately and systematically fed false information that leads them to question what they know to be true, often about themselves. They may end up doubting their memory, their perception, and even their sanity. So how does this show up towards those in the LGBTQ plus community?
Would it be okay if I were to tell you that I am afraid someday? So I call you up and you call me down. Would it be okay?
Well, hello and welcome to the FreedHearts podcast. My name is Robert Cottrell and I'm here with
Susan Cottrell.
We always say that. We just want to remind you in case you forget. Not me in case I forget. I know. Again, we're so glad you're here. As always, connect with us and all that we have to offer to the LGBTQ community, to parents, to allies, all that kind of stuff. And you can find out about all of that, including our new Beloved Adventures. Not so new anymore, but our signature program, Beloved Adventures, which are amazing 21-day journeys on all kinds of things. All of that is at freedhearts.org. And don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast if you would. And if you're on Apple Podcasts or listening to this on Apple Podcasts, please rate us. If you love us, give us 5 stars. If you don't love us, please don't rate us. So 5 stars mean a lot as people are scrolling through and discovering. So if you like what you hear and you have not done so already, please give us 5 stars. We'd appreciate it. And also, if you like what we do and want to support all that we do, you can do that by supporting us. There is a link on the podcast page and also on our website. So you look like you're about to say something.
Yeah. No, they're not so new anymore, the 21-day adventures.
Yeah, they've been around since the summer.
Yeah, and we have third one is coming out here. So
fourth one's coming out here.
Fourth one's coming out here.
Yeah, we have our 21-day journey to free your heart. We have our Radically Included, and we have our 21-day Mama Bear journey. We have one that actually, by this time this airs, is probably out or just coming out, and that's on dysfunctional family and church and community.
Getting beyond dysfunction.
And we'll give you the first news right here, right now, of a tease of one coming up next year, which will be our first 30-day journey.
Oh.
And all we're going to do is give you this subject.
Harry Potter.
Okay. It's going to be so fun. I'm so wizarding and excited about that. Okay. It's so fun. Growing up, Annie read every one of those books aloud to her siblings. And so they kind of hold a very special place in our lives.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about that from a queer perspective. Okay, enough. Stop.
Talk about that later. Okay.
So today is a very special episode, and we're going to talk about Christian gaslighting against the LGBTQ community. And I want to give a major shout out here to Eric Feltus. It's at Eric Feltus on Instagram, and it's EricFeltes. He inspired this, kind of came up with this concept that led me to think, this would be a great podcast. Talked with him, got his okay to do this. And so we've taken what he had to say, we've added to it. Anyway, this is going to be very cool. Yeah. So thank you so much, Eric, and hi, Pam. I know you're listening to. So thank you, Eric. We love you, and you're amazing, and we love you very much. Actually, you were a guest on Eric's podcast. Right?
I was, yes.
Yeah, so.
Yes, you can find me there.
Yeah, so anyway, okay. So what is gaslighting?
Good question. Yeah, well, according to Psychology Today, gaslighting is an insidious form of manipulation and psychological control. Victims of gaslighting are deliberately and systematically fed false information that leads them to question what they know to be true, often about themselves. They may end up doubting their memory, their perception, and even their sanity.
Good Lord.
Wow. Does that at all sound at all familiar to anyone?
We throw around that term gaslighting, and we kind of throw it around, and it's kind of not cute sounding, but it's kind of trendy. But this is serious stuff here.
Serious stuff.
An insidious form of manipulation.
And psychological control.
Fed false information. It leads people to doubt their memory, their perception, even their sanity.
Yes.
So this is a serious thing.
To question what they know to be true, often about themselves.
Oh my gosh. So.
Like you're not really gay, are you?
Yeah.
Well, yes, I am. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We'll get into that.
Okay.
So how does this show up now? Because it is certainly used a lot in the non-affirming Christian church against the LGBTQ community, as well as against folks like us who are affirming family members and against allies as well. So we're going to talk about in some of the different ways that this is used, how that shows up, what it looks like, what you'll hear that's really gaslighting, and then we'll talk about some things you can do to respond to that. So the first one you hear, and we talked about this recently at length, but the first one you hear is
trigger warning.
Love the sinner, hate the sin.
Yes.
Gaslighters are masters at saying this piece of, at saying their piece without holding themselves accountable.
Yes.
And with this often overused phrase, very overused phrase, one we talk about again extensively in a previous podcast, victims are left feeling less than and in sin and broken,
worthless,
and hated,
abominable,
while the gaslighters speak their mind with zero repercussions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very effective way to just drop something in, a little bomb to go off and have no consequences for it.
Yeah.
You just dropped a bomb in somebody's heart.
That's a good visual. You ever see those, not cherry bombs, but
smoke bomb?
Yeah, like smoke bombs. The kids are dropping smokes. This is a little gaslighting smoke bomb.
Yeah.
You say this, you drop it in, and then...
And you walk away, so you're not accountable at all for what you did.
So that's one thing you hear, and that we say these things so when you hear them, you think, oh, I'm being gaslighted.
Yeah.
I'm being gaslighted.
That's right.
And we want to help you recognize what this is. That's the first step in all of this, is recognizing it for what it is. And another phrase you will hear is, I love you, but, and you can just fill in the blank after that. I love you, but...
Anything.
But anything. And we've also covered this one in detail in a recent podcast. This is conditional love. That's what it is. If
you call it love.
It's conditional anything. That's pure and simple. And this is another example of saying exactly how you feel without holding yourself accountable. You can say this, it sounds good, but you add that I love you, which kind of is supposed to not make what you're about to say so bad.
Right. And it's like then you can turn to the person if they get hurt or offended and you can say, but I said I love you.
Right.
But I'm saying this in love.
Yeah.
Okay, you're saying that does not make that true.
Yeah. Gaslighters wish to appear loving while still using fear to control their victims.
Yeah.
And in reality, as we've said before, anything that follows I love you negates I love you. So anything after the but is really the point of what you were trying to say.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one we have is you just need to pray about it.
So before we even address this, we need to say that these people just don't understand that what has just come to them is something you have been praying about for a long time. And you have said, God, take this away. God, this can't be true. God, I don't want this.
As we said last week, who would make the choice to be so condemned and shunned and rejected and shamed and abused about this?
Right.
Yeah, who would make that choice? Right.
And by the way, let me just toss in here that if you did not go through all that, if you just accepted it as is, more power to you. You don't need to have gone through this turning yourself inside out for your position to be valid at all. I'm happy for you. But many people, maybe most, went through all this prayer and questioning and doubting and self-hatred. And so for somebody to tell you that, what they should really be saying is, I'm going to go pray about it.
Yeah, because that's the real issue here is why don't they just pray about it
Yeah.
and leave you up to God? You just love you and trust the God in which they are claiming so much faith.
Right. So, let them do their work.
Yeah.
And do not take on what they're telling you to do so you can, further prove to them that you're okay.
Yeah.
They need to do their work and you can just walk away.
Each of these little things we're saying can actually warrant an entire podcast episode.
Right.
So we'll try not to go on too long on these because the point of these is that so you recognize them as gaslighting. When
Yes.
you hear love the sinner, hate the sin, when you hear I love you, but when you hear you just need to pray about it,
Yeah.
that I want a flag to go up in your brain because of this podcast.
Yeah.
And say, oh, that's gaslighting. I'm being gaslighted here.
Yep.
That reveals that what's behind this is, again, an insidious form of manipulation and control.
Right.
And you're being fed false information trying to lead you to question who you are.
If you feel like you're being twisted, if you feel like you're being manipulated, if you feel like you're being lied to, you probably are.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the next one that you'll hear about is that, well, the Bible's very clear on this.
Okay. The truth is, the Bible is very clear about being radically affirming and embracing of everybody, and especially the ones on the lower level of power. Absolutely. That's what it's clear about.
But people are going to continue to believe these false teachings and misinterpretations. We have, by the way, detailed resources on what the Bible does and does not say about this on the website.
Yeah. But the twisting and the misinterpretations, those are all just weaponized pieces of the Bible used to hurt this community. So the Bible is not clear on this in the way that they think.
No.
They don't even know what the Bible really says.
Yeah, but,
not in context, not in historical or literary context.
right.
So just stand them down.
It takes time. And this warrants its own episode, but we want you to, again, hear these phrases and understand that you're being gaslighted. That's what the goal of this episode is.
Yeah.
And most of these people honestly don't want to take the time that it requires
Right.
to even look into the Bible on this. And
But any single phrase used to proof text as a proof text is just going to end up being wrong.
yeah,
You know, when it's used against someone, it's wrong.
absolutely. And often abusive. So
Yes.
again,
And gaslighting.
yeah, go back and look at the definition of gaslighting. That's abuse. That's abusive.
Right. Here's one that just, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Next one is
We hear this all the time from kids about their parents, where they'll say,
the parents will say,
yeah, or kids will tell us their parents have said this. Why are you doing this to me? The parents will say. And we're like, well, now it's all about you, isn't it?
It is all about the parents anyway.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And what they're saying is, what about the impact this is going to have? How will the church view me? Your dad's going to lose his job. I won't be able to go to Bible study. Right. And I'm gay. So I'm in this equation and I matter here and I'm your son, I'm your daughter, whatever, so I matter here.
Yeah.
But when it's all turned into being about them,
Yeah.
that's gaslighting.
Yeah. Suffering in the closet is hard enough. And when parents make this an issue about them, it is abusive and it is manipulation and it is really harmful.
And it's
so
completely selfish.
Yeah.
All right.
One more. No, a couple more. Well, the devil has deceived you.
Oh, don't you just love that? Don't you just love that? Anything I don't understand that you're saying must be because the devil deceived you. I don't understand it. I can't let it into my worldview. Therefore, the devil deceived you. That is gaslighting at its most diabolical.
And no matter how right someone feels in their heart, if a Christian gaslighter disagrees with you, instead of just letting it be, they will often use this phrase to make you, or try to get you, but we're not going to let them, try to get you question your core beliefs and even your sanity. Like, my God, am I possessed? I mean, please, this is horrid. This is horrid.
Right. We talked about the God of the gaps. Fill in anything you don't understand with, oh, well then God. And this is the devil of the gaps. I don't understand it, therefore it's the devil.
Yeah.
But you don't have to buy it.
And
you're smarter than that. We're here for you.
And so often they will hear LGBTQ people of faith say, well, I have a peace in my heart about this. I have a peace in my heart. And the gaslighter responds, well, the peace you feel is not from God.
Well, there's a kick in the butt. I mean, wow, really?
Because this is a personal one. We've heard all this. But this one, because we not struggled, but we wondered about things.
We had questions for sure.
Questions, and then Annie called
need to be answered. And Annie called after they had come out to me months before, finally called from New York and said, Mom, I'm dating women now, and I'm more at peace with God than I've ever been. And I said, okay, that's the end result. That's what we're going for. So more power to you. If you're at peace with God, I'm at peace with God. But the gaslighter will tell you that's not really peace, it's the devil. First of all, Jesus said, a house divided against itself can't stand. They said he was possessed by the devil. He said, I'm doing God's work. Like, this is not the devil. It's like you go to school and you have this great project and your teacher says, that was great. You did that just great. You get this gold ribbon or whatever for this project you did. And then you come home and your mom says, well, I think it's crap. I think your teacher's lying to you and it's terrible. Could there be anything more cruel than that? And arrogant. And it completely invalidates you.
Yeah.
Emotionally and in every other way. So do not let anybody take the peace of God that's in your heart. It's not theirs to take. God may not have given them peace because they may still be struggling with their own stuff around this. But God gave you peace or is giving you peace or you're seeking peace. That's not their business and they don't get to touch that.
And when the Spirit in you says, you're all good.
Yeah.
You are all good. God delights in you as you are, for who you are. It's all good.
Believe it.
It's all good. Believe it. And then your parents go, well, I think that's crap.
Yeah.
The Spirit's lying to you.
You can say, well, I think you're crap and run out the door. I'm just kidding.
It's back to
but you'll feel
last
like
episode about us being irreverent. No, but the issue is they don't have peace, and that's between them and God, and you're all good. So again, when you hear that, it's gaslighting.
Yeah.
So Eric felt this, and said this, and I love it. He said, okay, breathe, relax your jaw, lower your shoulders.
Yeah.
Because this work starts with noting the problem.
And that's what we were just doing.
That's what we just did here.
Yeah.
Is we noted the problem. All these things we just said, all these phrases are actually gaslighting. And we defined how horrible and how dangerous to you emotionally and then physically gaslighting is.
Yep.
And so we've noted the problem. That's what you just did. Well done.
Yes. And I want to add one more piece with breathe, relax your jaw, lower your shoulders. I also want to add the piece for you to smile. Just smile at yourself because it will change your physiology. It'll bring you present. It will tell you that everything's fine. You know how if somebody makes a little joke, says something you're not sure of a joke, and you look at them and you see they're smiling. It's like, oh, okay, I get it. I get what it is. Or a text that has a heart emoji or a smiley emoji. You're like, okay. And you know what it is. And it's your body knows when you smile at it. Mm-hmm. What you're saying is, everything's fine. I got this. I know it may even be, they're being a jerk right now. I'm going to have to work through this. Yes. But we're good. Yeah. We're safe. You're safe. So smile. It's a physiological response that you'll experience.
What I find, I have my resting face is like droopy. If you could see me right now, it's like not droopy eyes, but like droopy eyes and not smiling. That's my natural. I've done this way too much in my life. That's how I've trained my muscles.
Droopy face.
Yeah, my resting, droopy, sad face. And so I have to.
It's not sad.
And you've met people that have a natural happy face, a natural smile face. But sometimes when I'm stressed or worried, I will just smile and I can feel my eyes change.
Yeah.
And I can feel it's a physical response that I have just smiling. So just right now, we'll give you a minute. Go ahead and just smile. Come on, smile. If you're near a mirror, look in the mirror and smile at yourself.
Yeah.
Go, you're so cute and wonderful. You don't have to do the last part.
It'll tell you, you can though.
Yeah,
It'll tell you that you're okay.
Yeah.
It'll tell you that all is well. Even if you have stuff to work through, family to work through, now you may have decisions to make. It's all good. You are not your enemy. That's what it tells you.
We've noted the problem. So now we're going to talk about just some things you can do and self-care. It's really all about self-care here because you matter the most here. You matter the most. So again, identify what's happening. We did that just now, so well done. And part of it is identifying what is and what's not in your control or what you can change. You know what? You can't change the opinion of others. And it's often a complete waste of time to debate people who are committed to misunderstanding you. as it can be toxic for you. But you can absolutely make the choice to let go of harmful beliefs and relationships that are causing you to suffer. Again, trust your heart. Does a belief or a relationship bring you absolute joy? This is like, who's the organizer? Does it bring you joy?
Oh, yeah,
Marie
Kondo,
Yeah.
Thank you.
So does a belief or relationship bring you joy? And if not, you do have the ability to walk away from it. Some will be more layered and complex than others. But here's some things you can do. The first one is you can journal. You can write about this.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if it, something can be triggering or too high stress or too close to you to even see clearly. But when you journal about it, it kind of pours out. So you may not be able to tell somebody else, and think of it like automatic writing. Just start writing. And if you have to say, I don't know what to write, soon you'll find your heart is pouring out. And it's very therapeutic. That's a very common mode to do that. And every once in a while, just go review what you wrote. And over time, patterns will emerge. Maybe in the things people have told you, maybe in people being safe and other people being unsafe, and responses in you too. Every time I'm with that person, I feel crappy.
That's a good way to help to kind of bring some light to the situation, help you get some things out. Because
when you're in the situation with that person, you're not at your best decision-making mode because you're in a bit of a fight or flight, a panic,
you know. You're triggered and stressed.
You're triggered and stressed, right.
Something else you can do is establish boundaries, and that's said so often. But if someone is manipulating you into trying to live a life that they think you should live, and they double down by adding God's name to it, you have a responsibility to yourself to set a boundary. Yeah. And the book Boundaries is very helpful. If you don't know how to do it. No, I don't remember. It's called Boundaries?
Boundaries. Okay. It's the main one.
You can email us if you can't find it or you're confused.
Yeah, we'll you should be able to find it. There's a whole series of them by the same author. So, okay.
And you can let people know, again, this can be tricky and layered and complex, but you can let people know that what they're doing is not okay. If they don't honor the boundary, then honestly, the relationship may need to come to an end. Yeah. And this comes to self-care. For you to love yourself enough to learn something new, which may be new for you is boundary setting, and then go forward with that. Yeah, because somebody doesn't have the right to treat you however they want. Yeah, that's really important. And you just say, okay, that's how you love you, is you don't let that be okay. It needs to be a balance between concern for the other person, but concern for you. Yeah, you have to take care of yourself here. This is self-care. And again, we're talking about in your relationship with gaslighters, with people who are gaslighting you. Yeah. And who are doing things that are causing harm to you. Yeah. And causing you to question your sanity and not love yourself and all these things. So yeah, they identify what's happening, the boundaries, the writing things down so you get it out. Those things are really important. And like Susan said, no one has the right to treat you like crap, like however they want. They just don't have that right. You get to set boundaries here. And this could be for the LGBTQ person listening. It could also be for family members out there who are affirming and getting this kind of gaslighting from people because of your support of your child or your family member. Let me just say a couple more things about that, you may be told, if you even speak up against their treatment of you, you may be told, well, you're just overly sensitive. Gaslighting. That's gaslighting. Gaslighting. That's right. Sarcasm? No, gaslighting. And if that's the case, you can say, well, I am kind of sensitive about that. So I think it would be good if you were extra kind on this subject. Yeah. Or we just turn it around. Yes. So in other words, if you think I'm oversensitive, then you should be overkind about it, not just run me over, right? Yeah, that's good because they're saying you're oversensitive. In other words, therefore I can do what I want. Yeah, I can say something mean, but the fact that it hurts you so much is your fault. Right, exactly. Instead of saying, I'm really sensitive to that because of everything that's happened, blah, 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 blah. So you should be more kind. Well, no, no. They won't do that. Exactly. Yeah, that's good. The other part is if you're not sure if something
Like if you're just being too sensitive, I don't buy that for a second. If it hurts, it hurts. But if you're wondering whether it's something that, quote, should hurt you, I guess, if you're just doubting yourself, then think of somebody you love dearly, a good friend, partner, child, somebody, and in your imagination, pull them right next to you and see that person saying that thing to them. Would you be okay with it? Chances are, no, you wouldn't.
Mm.
And if you wouldn't, then don't be okay with it with you either. Yeah. And in the moment, to say something in the moment is probably going to get a more abuse from them. It's very likely to. So it may not work in the moment. It might, but it may be a longer game situation of, you know what? Later, you send them a letter. I'm not going to do this relationship anymore. Well, it's too hard. You're not kind to me, that kind of thing. If it's a gaslighter, in other words, you won't get probably a good response in the moment.
Right. The opposite may be true, though, as well, in that in the moment, the response for your care might be to, boom, cut it off. The boundaries there, boom, no contact. That's it. I'm not going to allow myself to be subjected to this. And then over time, you may be able to talk about this more. I would almost rather people, I don't know, I don't want you to continue.
It's really tough to give specific advice in a situation where there's so much subjectivity.
Don't feel like you have to leave. If you don't feel that, don't feel like you have to stay. If you don't feel that, this is, so care for yourself on this. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Whatever your heart is telling you, not the damaged, wounded heart that says, yeah, they're probably right, I do deserve this, but your deeper heart underneath that, follow that.
Yeah.
And if you would not be okay with them treating somebody you love that way, don't receive it as okay for you, because you need to be someone you love too.
Yeah, that's all part of the establishing boundaries thing, again, which is very complex here.
Yeah.
Finally, one more thing, and that's, you don't have to go through this alone. Seek support. There is chosen family out there. Find people, surround yourself with people who accept and celebrate and affirm you. Friends, family members who are affirming, chosen family and affirming sex positive therapist, those kind of things. It's what you deserve. It's what you deserve, really.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to set your heart free and help you love and be loved and help you sort through these things, is knowing that you're not alone. You don't have to go through this alone. Don't settle for anything less than an affirming, loving, accepting community.
I had a friend who would tell me the things that had happened to her and her family, and my jaw would drop. And she'd say, I can always tell how over the top something is that I had normalized by your reaction to it.
Wow.
Because I didn't know that was abnormal. It's like, yeah, that's abnormal. That's not okay. It's unhealthy. It's abuse.
And finding a community will help you see things that you've normalized, that have become normal and common in your life, that are really gaslighting and abusive. So all of this, let's just wrap up by saying that all of this is self-care. It's about caring for yourself.
That's
and
right.
You know how important we think this is, because we talk about it a lot. You need and deserve to care for yourself. Take a walk, focus on ways to help your breathing, meditate, spend time with your people who get you, your people who unconditionally love and affirm you. And even in your social media, your entertainment choices, spend time with things that support your lifestyle, your authentic lifestyle. And you deserve to be loved. You deserve to love as you are for who you are. And,
Take a walk outside and feel the grass on your feet. I swear it'll change things for you. Yeah, look outside at the trees.
And while you're there, don't forget to smile. We love you.
We love you.
Again, this is what you deserve. Please don't settle for less.
Mm-hmm.
Recognize this and respond to it in a way that is absolutely caring and focused on yourself here, because that's what you deserve. We love you. You are beloved.
We love you.
We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Would it be okay if I were to tell you that I am afraid someday, so I call you up and you call me down? Would it be okay?
You've been listening to the FreedHearts podcast. We have extensive resources and vibrant community for you at www.freedhearts.org. www.freedhearts.org. Just come say hello. And if you have questions or issues or comments about the podcast, things you'd like us to talk about, reach out to us at podcast@freedhearts.org. The music is provided by Hannah Cottrell, our daughter, the Grammy-nominated Saint Sinner, and you can find out more about her at heysaintsinner.com. Please share this, subscribe, and follow on your favorite platform, and thanks for listening.